my top 10 creepiest, cursed, and haunted objects.
Number 10. The Busby Stoop Chair.
This is a cursed seat that allegedly caused fatal car crashes, sudden illnesses, and freak accidents. The story starts in 1702 in North Yorkshire, England. A man named Thomas Busby was an alcoholic, a thief, and eventually an unaliver. He unalived his father-in-law, Daniel Oddie, after a heated argument, allegedly because Daniel sat in his favorite chair. A little bit dramatic, a little bit over the top. Busby was arrested, tried, and sentenced to death. Before his execution, he was allowed one final drink at his favorite pub. When he finished his drink, he stood up, looked at the chair, and said, "May sudden death come to anyone who dares sit in this chair." He was then hanged near the inn, and from that day forward, the chair became known as cursed. Also, just to clear it up, in case you've heard a different version of the story, the Busby Stoop Chair, the stoop in that is referring to where he was hung, which was either a stone or post near the inn. Some versions of the legend confuse the chair with the stoop or blend the two together. Locals say that anyone who sat in the Busby chair died shortly after. Some of the most chilling cases include World War II airmen who sat in the chair while drinking at the pub and never returned from their missions, a delivery driver in the 1970s who tried sitting in the chair and crashed the very same day, a cleaning lady allegedly once tripped and fell into the chair and passed away shortly after of a brain aneurysm. Then there were construction workers who dared each other to sit in it. One of them did, and he wound up falling off a roof hours later. The pattern became so disturbing that the pub's landlord moved the chair into the cellar to stop people from trying to sit in it. Eventually, the owners gave the chair to the Thirsk Museum, but under one condition: it must never be sat in again. Today, it hangs high on a wall, out of reach, surrounded by warning signs. They haven't had a single linked death to it since, obviously. How could they? But the legend still haunts the region, and no one dares test it. Here are some lesser-known facts that you might not have known about this one. The pub where the curse started was renamed the Busby Stoop Inn because of how infamous the legend became. Historians believe that the chair in the museum might not even date back to 1702, meaning the real death chair may have been swapped, yet people still passed away after sitting in this other one. But the museum chair is suspended high enough on the wall that not only can you not sit in it, but you also cannot touch it. Some skeptics suggest that this is a psychological curse. People die because they believe they will after sitting in the chair. But multiple sudden deaths still make it hard to ignore. And even if it was a psychological curse, does that still not make it a curse? And lastly, the chair is so feared that no one has sat in it since the 1970s. Was the Busby chair curse real, or was it the power of belief that made the chair so deadly?
Number 9. The Haunted Wedding Dress of Anna Baker.
It's said that if you stare at this dress for long enough, you'll see the dress swaying gently, like someone is still dancing in it. In the mid-1800s, Anna Baker was the daughter of Elias Baker, a wealthy ironmaster in Altoona, Pennsylvania. Anna fell in love with a local steel worker, a man her father considered beneath their status. When she told Elias they planned to marry, he refused, forbidding the relationship. Heartbroken, Anna never married. She spent the rest of her life bitter, alone, and isolated in the family mansion. She died in 1914, still filled with sorrow over the love she lost. Before her father had ended the engagement, Anna had chosen a beautiful wedding dress, cream-colored, long-sleeved, and very elegant for its time. After the breakup, she kept it hidden, never worn, and never touched again. Decades later, the dress was placed on display in the Baker Mansion Museum, inside a sealed glass case. That's when things started to get creepy. Visitors and museum staff started to report strange activity, all tied to the dress. The dress would sway side to side, even though there was no airflow in this sealed glass case. Some would claim to see the outline of a woman's figure behind or beside the dress. Others reported cold spots or the feeling of being watched. One guard even claimed to hear soft crying near the exhibit when no one else was there. Many believed that it was Anna's spirit still attached to the symbol of the life that she never got to live. Now, here are some facts you may not have known about this one. The Baker Mansion itself is considered to be haunted, with multiple spirits reported. That's including Anna, her brother, and her father Elias. The dress is housed in a humidity and temperature-controlled glass case, making natural movement unlikely. Staff members have tried to debunk the swaying, but no explanations fully account for it. Some psychics who have visited the site claimed the dress holds residual energy from Anna's heartbreak and her obsessive attachment. Visitors have captured unexplained light anomalies and shadows in photos of the dress, especially near closing time. I could definitely see there being a residual attachment to this dress, but what do you think? Is the dress swaying just a trick of the eye or a psychological trick since so many have claimed to see it?
Number 8. The Dybbuk Box.
The haunted object that allegedly cursed anyone who touched it, including Post Malone. The Dybbuk Box first surfaced in 2003 when a man named Kevin Mannis listed a wine cabinet on eBay. In the listing, he claimed it had belonged to a Holocaust survivor who told him it housed a Dybbuk, which is a malicious spirit from Jewish folklore. According to Kevin, strange things started happening after he acquired the box. Lights would flicker, objects would move on their own. He and others had terrifying nightmares about an old hag, and his mother had a stroke the same day he gave her the box. This eBay story went viral in the early 2000s. After Kevin sold it, each new owner allegedly experienced terrifying events. Jason Hexton, a museum director, developed skin rashes, coughing blood, and recurring nightmares. Lights exploded, electronics fried, and his hair allegedly turned white. He eventually sealed the box in an acacia wood ark, surrounded with golden menorahs, and buried it in an undisclosed location. But that wasn't the end. Years later, the box resurfaced when it was acquired by Zach Bagans from Ghost Adventures. He put it on display at his haunted museum in Las Vegas. Here's where we get into Post Malone. In 2018, Post Malone visited the museum with Zach. Zach touched the Dybbuk Box with Post Malone standing nearby. Shortly after, Post Malone's private plane had to make an emergency landing, his home was broken into, and he was in a serious car crash. Fans connected it to the box, and suddenly the legend blew up again. The Dybbuk Box became internet famous as the most haunted object in the world. It inspired the 2012 horror film The Possession, and countless YouTubers and TikTokers have posted about it and spent the night with the box. And creepy things happened. Even the original eBay listing is archived like a relic. It's become the poster child for cursed objects, especially in digital horror culture. But here's where things get murky. In real Jewish folklore, a Dybbuk is the spirit of a dead person that clings to the living, often because of unfinished business or sin. But there is no record of a Dybbuk being trapped in a box or being able to be trapped in boxes. So that is not a traditional belief. That doesn't mean it's not real. Several rabbis and scholars have called the Dybbuk Box a complete fabrication. So in 2021, Input Magazine and others published interviews with Kevin Mannis, the original seller. He admitted the whole thing was a creative writing project, a horror story he invented for eBay. He even crafted the wine cabinet to look creepier. But by the time he did this interview, the Dybbuk Box had already become a part of pop culture. Even knowing it's likely fake, people still claim to experience terrifying things when they're near the box. Which raises the question, is it the fear itself that causes the curse? What do you think? Do you think the box is cursed? Do you think that everyone has thought that it's cursed so much that now it's cursed and it wasn't before? Or do you think it's just complete bullshit? Let me know.
Number 7. The real Annabelle doll.
The real Annabelle doll is a Raggedy Ann doll. She is kept locked in a glass case at the Warrens Occult Museum in Monroe, Connecticut. According to Ed and Lorraine Warren, the doll was so dangerous that it had to be blessed twice a week just to keep its demonic influence contained. In 1970, a nurse named Donna was given the doll by her mother as a gift. At first, it was just decorative, but then strange things started happening. The doll changed positions when no one was watching. Notes appeared around the apartment that said, "Help us," on parchment paper, which Donna and her roommate did not own. The doll even appeared in different rooms when they were sure they hadn't left it there. Donna was freaked out, so she contacted a psychic. The psychic told her the doll was possessed by a spirit of a little girl who passed away named Annabelle Higgins. Feeling sorry for the doll, Donna and her roommate invited the spirit to stay. That was their huge mistake. Paranormal activity continued to progress, and the doll even allegedly attacked a friend, leaving claw marks on his chest. This is when Donna contacted Ed and Lorraine Warren. They determined it wasn't a little girl at all. Surprise, surprise though, did they ever determine anything was like a regular haunting, or were they always just like possession? Anyways, they said that doll, not cursed by a little girl, instead cursed by an inhuman demonic entity. Bad news bears. The entity was using Annabelle as a way to gain trust and to try and possess a human host. The Warrens performed an exorcism and took the doll back to their museum. There she was placed in a locked case with a warning sign that said, "Positively do not open." But even inside the Warrens museum, Annabelle continued to wreak havoc. A young man man mocked her during a tour and allegedly died in a motorcycle accident hours later. Father Jason Bradford, a priest who visited the museum, challenged the doll and was in a serious car crash on the way home. According to Lorraine, Annabelle has never been dormant, even inside her case. Zach Bagans and other paranormal celebrities have since referenced her influence, with many refusing to even be in the same room as her. That's pretty telling. The museum is now closed. Since the passing of the warrant and zoning issues in Monroe, Connecticut, Annabelle has been moved to private storage, but the location is kept secret. Lorraine once said on record that, and I quote, "Annabelle has caused more damage than any other item in the museum. Her case is made of bulletproof glass, not just to keep her in, but also because prior visitors of the museum would try to open the case during tours." The Warren's son-in-law, Tony Spera, says the doll still moves. He says even now, they find the doll's head slightly tilted in a different direction or her arms in different positions, despite never being touched. I truly love haunted dolls. I love them so much that I literally created this whole lore, this whole thing about some haunted dolls that I will be getting into. What do you think? Are the Warrens full of schnitzel, or were these hauntings real? Were some of them real? Were all of them real? None of them? Is Annabelle cursed? Is she haunted? Is she possessed? What do you think? Tell me.
Number 6. Robert the Doll.
Robert the doll is over 100 years old, and everyone says that if you take his picture without asking him permission first, he'll curse you. By the way, I'm obsessed with haunted dolls, and I have a lot of them. Robert the doll was given to a boy named Robert Eugene Otto, nicknamed Gene, in the early 1900s. His grandfather bought it in Germany, likely from the Steiff Company, which made early dolls and stuffed animals. Gene quickly became obsessed with the doll, and he named it Robert after himself. He insisted the doll was alive. His parents overheard him having full-on conversations in his room, and sometimes they would hear a second voice answering back. When things went wrong, like broken furniture or toys destroyed, Gene would say, "Robert did it." After Gene grew up, he kept the doll into adulthood. He even gave it its own room in the attic of the family home. Visitors claimed they could hear footsteps, laughing, and see the doll move on its own. After Gene passed away in 1974, the house was sold. Robert the doll was left inside the house, and the new owners said that Robert was still active. They would hear running footsteps upstairs, items would be moved or thrown across the room, and one visitor even claimed that Robert's expression changed right before his eyes. Eventually, Robert was donated to the Fort East Martello Museum, where he still sits behind glass. According to museum staff, Robert still does not like being disrespected. Does anyone? But visitors who mock him, take his photo without his permission, or laugh at him often report terrifying consequences, like car accidents, job losses, divorces, illnesses, and even deaths in the family. The museum receives hundreds of letters every year begging Robert the doll for forgiveness. They're real, and these handwritten notes they tape to the wall. They say things like, "I'm sorry I didn't believe in you. Please lift the curse." Paranormal teams who have visited the doll say his energy is intense. Now, here are some lesser known facts that you might not have known about this one. Robert the doll has his own passport. Seriously. When he travels for exhibits, he has an official passport issued in his name with his photo. The doll is over 3 feet tall and stuffed with wood wool, making him larger and heavier than most antique dolls. Museum workers report that electronics malfunction near Robert, especially cameras and audio recorders. Robert gets fan mail and even gifts, including candy, money, letters, and people asking for life advice or protection. There is one other theory I've heard about why Robert the doll is cursed, and I do want to talk about it. Some believe that Robert was cursed by a servant of the Otto family, someone who practiced voodoo or black magic. First of all, voodoo is a beautiful religion and they don't curse people, that's hoodoo. And second of all, stories like this really carry problematic framing. It blames enslaved or marginalized groups for cursing objects, often when that has nothing to do with their practices, religion, or culture. And these are situations where those people were actually being harmed. Even if those legends come from folklore, they often reflect racist assumptions or erase historical truth. This is the same thing for when people say that land is cursed because of the First Nations people that were unalived there. The conjure chest, the Myrtle's plantation mirror, those are a couple of other haunted or cursed objects that I will talk about. But again, those ones are bullshit. If there's something going on there, it's not because of these marginalized groups that we're framing as cursing objects when they're simply not. I digress. What do you think of this one? I personally think that bad things happen to people all the time, and I don't think that this is a cursed doll, to be honest. I think that this is just a haunted doll, and all of those negative things that happen to people were coincidences. But what do you think?
Number 5. The Curse of the Crying Boy Painting.
In the 1980s, dozens of houses burned to the ground, but one item was always found untouched in the ashes: a painting of a crying boy. In post-war Britain, a series of mass-produced paintings featuring sad, tearful children became weirdly popular. Most were created by an Italian artist named Giovanni Bragolin. They were printed and sold by thousands in department stores across the UK. In the 1980s, the Sun newspaper published a front-page headline, "Blazing Curse of the Crying Boy Painting." The article claimed that a family home had burned down completely, but one thing survived the fire, without a single scorch mark: a crying boy painting on the wall. And then more stories started to roll in. Over 50 similar cases were reported. In every one, the house was completely destroyed by the fire, but the crying boy painting was intact, often found face down in the rubble, completely unburned. Some fire crews even began to refuse to have the prints in their own homes, and they were calling them cursed. One firefighter was quoted saying, "I've seen too many homes go up in flames with that painting on the wall." People believed that the paintings were cursed because of the tragic fate of the children they portrayed. Some claimed the boy was an orphan who passed away in a fire, the child of Romani who cursed the artist, or a model who passed away soon after the painting was done. The legends vary, but they all seem to claim that the spirit of the boy is trapped in the painting. After the panic exploded, the Sun launched a mass crying boy burning, where readers could send in their paintings to be destroyed. Hundreds of people did, and the fires allegedly stopped. As you can see, there are multiple versions of the crying boy painting, including girls and different children, but all share the same eerie vibe: huge eyes, tears, and a blank stare. The paintings were made with a fire-retardant varnish, which could explain why they didn't burn. But I don't know. What do you think? Firefighters, tell me, is this a possible thing? Does that sound plausible to you? People, science people, smart people who look at smart things? Is this plausible? Tell me, what do you think? The legend spread beyond the UK. People in Spain and South America started to report similar superstitions tied to sad child art. People, of course, try to purchase these paintings now, and a few have claimed that they've experienced strange electrical problems or sudden illnesses after bringing one home. Would you bring home a haunted object? Would you bring home a cursed object? Would you purchase a potentially haunted object? Specifically a haunted doll. Do you like a little lore? Little haunted doll lore? Let me know if you do.
Number 4. James Dean's Cursed Car.
Allegedly, anyone who has touched this vehicle or been in this vehicle have suffered horrific accidents or worse. In 1955, James Dean was one of the brightest young stars in Hollywood. He'd just bought a Porsche 550 Spider, which he nicknamed this. His friends warned him the car gave off bad vibes. Even actor Alec Guinness told Dean, "If you get that car, you'll be dead within a week." And he was right. On September 30th, 1955, Dean was driving the car to a race in California. He collided with another car at an intersection. He passed away instantly, and he was only 24 years old. But the curse didn't die with him. After the crash, the car was considered totaled, but the wreckage was salvaged and sold for parts. So now we've got multiple parts of this deadly car going into other cars. Not ideal. Things start getting weird here. Dr. Troy McHenry bought the engine and put it into his race car. He crashed and passed away during his first race with it. Dr. William Eschrich, who bought other parts of the vehicle, was severely injured in a crash during the same event. Another man who tried to steal the steering wheel was seriously injured when the car collapsed on him. I think that's called karma. The chassis was later put on display at a car safety exhibit. I don't know what the fuck that is, to be honest. But apparently, the building mysteriously caught fire. Also, during transport, the car allegedly slipped off of the truck and broke a mechanic's leg. On another occasion, it fell off during transport again and unalived a driver. Eventually, the cursed wreckage was donated to the National Safety Council, who used it to warn people about reckless driving. But then it disappeared. In 1960, while on tour, the car was packed into a sealed boxcar to be shipped from Miami to Los Angeles. When it arrived, the boxcar was empty. Sus. No one has seen the car since. Some say it was stolen. Others believe that it was finally destroyed. But some people also believe that the car is still out there waiting to unalive people. Also, if you didn't know, Alec Guinness is Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he truly did warn Dean about the car. And he said he had a premonition of death. The number 130 was also painted on the car when Dean passed away. Some theorists link it to unlucky numerology, and I'll get into that. George Barris, the customizer who originally worked on the car, claimed every attempt to move it or display it led to disasters. In 2022, a museum offered $1 million for the car's return, but there's still no sign of it. If this vehicle ever resurfaced, would you drive it? Would you take it for a little cruise?
Number 3. The Hope Diamond.
The Hope Diamond, a cursed gem that left a trail of death and madness, to be honest. The diamond was stolen, so not a good start, from a sacred statue. That's an even worse start. Don't steal things from sacred things. Use your brain. Anyways, the diamond was passed between royals and blamed for madness, beheadings, and brutal deaths. The Hope Diamond is a 45.5 carat blue diamond worth hundreds of millions today. Legend says that it was stolen from the eye of a Hindu idol in India in the 1600s. As punishment, a curse was placed on it, one that would bring misfortune and death to all who possessed it. It's called revenge. Look it up. It's called do something shitty to someone and then have it come back to you 3 times worse. Okay. Anyways, the man who allegedly stole it, torn apart by wild dogs. So right away, it was like, no, you didn't. The diamond eventually made its way to France, where it was worn by King Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette. Not long after the French Revolution hit, both were executed by guillotine. I'm not proud of myself, okay? Their court jeweler who handled the diamond was also tortured and unalived. Coincidence or curse? In the 1800s, a man named Wilhelm Falls recut the gem. His son unalived him and then unalived himself. Another owner, Prince Ivan, gave it to his mistress. She was shot and unalived, and he was stabbed and unalived shortly after. But it doesn't end there. There were more victims. Simon Frankel, a New York jeweler who went bankrupt after buying it. Jacques Collot, who started struggling with extreme mental illness and unalived himself. Forgot to put my other finger up. Evelyn Walsh McLean, a wealthy American socialite who wore it often. Her son passed away in a car crash. Her daughter passed away of an overdose. Her husband left her for another woman and wound up in an asylum where he also passed away. Some say she refused to believe in the curse until it was too late. Eventually, Harry Winston acquired the diamond and, fearing the curse, donated it to the Smithsonian in 1958. He mailed it in a plain brown box. The postman who delivered it was named James Todd. Shortly after, he suffered a car crash head injury and lost his leg in another accident. Even delivering this thing, not a good idea. Today, the Hope Diamond sits in the Smithsonian Museum on display, but some say the curse still lingers. And here's some lesser-known facts that you might not have known about this cursed object. The curse may have been invented by newspapers to boost sales in the early 1900s, but many deaths linked to the diamond are still real. Evelyn Walsh McLean once put the diamond on her dog's collar. The dog lived. The humans didn't. Harry Winston didn't actually believe in the curse, but he still refused to keep it. So he wasn't superstitious, but he was a little stitious. Shout out to The Office, and then shout out to my podcast with my sister, where we talk about paranormal things. The diamond glows red under UV lights, which freaks out a lot of people. Modern owners avoid touching it directly. It's clean and handled with extreme care, not just for value, but out of superstition. Would you go see the Hope Diamond? Would you wear the Hope Diamond? I would not, to be honest. I don't know. No, I love cursed objects. I love haunted objects. I would rather have a haunted object than a cursed object, probably.
Number 2. The Tallman bunk beds.
This one is just really creepy. Like, didn't like reading this. This one kept me up at night, but you gotta bear with me because it's kind of a weird one. Have you ever heard of the Tallman bunk beds? This is a haunted bed that literally terrified a family and made national television. In 1987, a family in Wisconsin brought home a piece of furniture. Alan and Debbie Tallman, a working class couple, bought a used wooden bunk bed for their children. As soon as the bunk beds moved into the children's bedroom, things started getting weird. This one just really creeps me out. So clocks and radios started to malfunction. Doors would slam shut on their own. A dark figure was seen walking down the hallway. One of their daughters claimed she saw a red-eyed witch standing over her, and voices were heard whispering things like, "Come here." Don't like it. This is really strange. One of the kids would get violently ill anytime they slept in that room. The parents tried to ignore it until Alan experienced something himself. One night, he heard a chilling voice from the garage saying, "Come here." When he opened the door, he saw a glowing figure standing in the corner. Another night, he saw fire-like light and fog coming from the bedroom. I don't know, does that just terrify anybody else or is it just me? Terrified, the family brought in a pastor to bless the home, but it didn't help at all. After months of torment, Alan brought the bunk beds outside and burned it to the ground, causing the activity to stop immediately. But this case became so notorious that in 1988, it was featured on the TV show Unsolved Mysteries, such a classic that's still going today. But this made it the first haunted furniture case ever broadcasted nationally. But the Tallmans, the family, they refused to profit off of the story, which makes me think it really happened. They moved and avoided interviews, wanting nothing to do with the attention or the trauma. Some say that the land where the bunk beds were burned now feels off. I don't know. Would you want a haunted object in your house? Would you want a haunted doll in your house? Now, if you've heard of this story, here are some things that you might not have heard. The bed wasn't in the house long, only about 9 months, but the haunting was just so intense. Local police officers were called during some of the incidents, and they refused to enter the house after what they saw. Just let that marinate. Some believe that the bunk bed was made from reclaimed wood from a coffin or a home where a violent death occurred. And lastly, the Unsolved Mysteries episode blurred the family's faces and changed the names, but locals instantly knew who it was, and the house was never lived in peacefully again. So after hearing the story, would you buy a used bed? I wouldn't, and I'll tell you why. It's because I have a fear of bed bugs, a very strong fear of bed bugs. So never. I would rather sleep on the floor than risk bed bugs. But I can add this onto my list of another reason not to, because damn girl, it's a really creepy story.
Number 1. The Anguished Man painting.
The Anguished Man. Let me fucking tell you, this kept me up at night, okay? This one's really creepy. This is a haunted painting that allegedly screams at night. And for those of you who want to see this painting, you're going to have to wait until later in the video. I will warn you before I show it because some people might not want to see it. People who have had this painting have heard screaming, felt watched, and even seen shadow figures. It's called The Anguished Man, and it might be the most terrifying painting ever created. Some say it's cursed, others say it is possessed. Either way, you don't want to see it, okay? The painting shows a horrific, twisted figure, like a man screaming in agony with a kind of featureless blood red face. It's kind of done with harsh brush strokes, and it just makes you feel wrong, okay? In a really creepy way. Like, it made me feel something when I looked at it, I'm not gonna lie. But what made it infamous is the backstory, not just the fact that it's fucking terrifying to look at. The painting belongs to a man named Sean Robinson from England. He claims he inherited it from his grandmother, who had kept it hidden in the attic, saying it was evil. So if my grandma said that, to me, you best believe I would be leaving that painting alone because I'd be trusting my grandma saying something is evil. If my grandma says something is evil, it's evil. You gotta listen to your grandma. Anyways, she warned Sean that the artist had mixed his own plasma, we'll call it, into the paint and then passed away by taking his own life after finishing it. After Sean brought the painting into his home, the activity started almost immediately. Whispers and screams started to be heard at night. Doors would slam on their own. Cold spots started to appear in the room the painting was in. And his son even claimed to see a shadow figure at the end of his bed. At one point, Sean's wife was even pushed down the stairs by an invisible force. Every time he moved the painting to a new location, the paranormal activity followed. He eventually recorded some of the phenomena on camera, sharing clips online of strange sounds and movement. Videos of the anguished man spread like wildfire, and people were begging Sean to get rid of it or destroy it, but he refused. Why, Sean? Why? Paranormal investigators offered to study it. Some even begged to buy it, but Sean wouldn't sell it. Instead, he allegedly locked it away in a secure location. He claimed that the longer it's out, the stronger the energy becomes. Like the longer it's on display, the stronger its energy becomes. Today, no one knows where it is, but some say simply looking at a photo of the painting can cause nausea, headaches, and bad dreams. So let me warn you, that's your warning. I'm about to show you the painting. I would like to tell you, I did not read that part before I looked at the painting. I kind of wish I didn't, to be honest. And when I looked at the painting, I swear I felt a visceral reaction and I felt weird. It could be because, some paintings just move me in a good way, in a bad way. So maybe it's that, or maybe it's cursed. I don't know. But here's your warning. Here it is. Don't like it. No one seems to know who painted this painting. Sean claimed that the paranormal activity would get more active at night, especially during a full moon or a storm. Some believe that the figure in the painting isn't human at all, but a demon frozen mid-scream as it was trapped in the canvas. You can look now. This one just really creeped me out, guys. I don't know. I think it's just because it looks so creepy. Let me know if you would hang that painting in your house. And follow me if you want more stories about the paranormal, folklore, cursed objects, haunted objects, my new fucking hyperfixation. And let me know if you would be interested in owning a possibly haunted doll. Let me know.